So I think it's fair to say that the FAA hasn't done the best job at integrating drones into our national airspace. Their rules and regulations stifle the progression of the drone industry, as we have technology that allows us to do things with our drones the government simply says no to. This is so evident in the recreational space. People want to fly drones, but they don't want to deal with all the hassle that comes with it. Registration, remote ID, stiff rules and regulation. It becomes too much for someone that just wants to casually fly, which in a way impacts everyone in the drone industry. If the barrier to entry is too high, in a sense that there are too many hoops to jump through, it won't attract new members that might look to even make this their career. So I live in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and I've got to say that this is one of the most drone-friendly cities in the entire country. For one, the skyline is very unique and interesting, so I never get bored of capturing it from all angles. We've got two rivers that make for really easy drone flights away from people. There are a lot of unique landmarks, from bridges to older monuments, and above all, the airspace is pretty much wide open. The Philadelphia International Airport is far enough south that it really doesn't impact any spots that I'd want to fly, and the same is true for the Northeast Philly Airport, except of course to the north. Even if I do need to fly within the vicinity of these two major airports, Lank is available for instant authorization. Here's the thing though, the airspace in Philadelphia is extremely susceptible to TFRs because of our current president, Joe Biden, who lives in Delaware and frequently flies home. He'll either come into the Philadelphia airport or the Newcastle airport. Either way, one of these TFRs goes into effect and covers the area that I usually fly. Here's an example of what the airspace has looked like here on a routine basis. With VIP travel to the Philly airport, this TFR covers the entire city and stretches up towards Trenton and as far down as Wilmington, Delaware. This means that for me as a drone service provider, I'm not able to service any of my clients, most of which are located within this vicinity in the Philadelphia and South Jersey area. Now, there have been other times where the Newcastle airport has a TFR at the same time as the Philly airport, which makes the overall area even larger than usual. The radius of these TFRs can also be absolutely massive, like this one down in Delaware that stretches all the way through the city of Philadelphia and halfway down the state. Speaking of Delaware, back in May of 2024, literally the entire state of Delaware was a TFR, meaning if you owned a drone and lived in this state, you were pretty much grounded regardless. Now, while this was not an example of a TFR in the Philadelphia area, over the summer I had Ken and Lon visit, and we were basically playing a game where we would bounce around the area to dodge all the TFRs from Biden's travel throughout the area. He was traveling to Philly, so we bounced up to the New York area for a few days, and then he went up to the Hamptons, so the TFRs moved north, covering most of New Jersey and almost all of Long Island. To me, I have absolutely no idea how my drone could impact anyone flying to or from the Philly airport in any capacity, whether it's the president or whether it's Tim Smith flying home with his family from vacation. Per the FAA, I can't fly close to airports or over 400 feet, and most of these manned aircraft, when they're away from airports, are above 400 feet as they're going from point A to point B. The only time that they're lower than 400 feet is usually when taking off or landing from an airport where I can't fly anyway. So just for fun, I tracked some planes flying into the Philadelphia International Airport and found that on the approach or takeoff, most of these planes quickly get up and over 400 feet, meaning that my drone flight would have no effect on their operations. I would need to be legitimately on the tarmac or at least on the airport's property to do any damage or interfere with these planes. But if I was, say, looking to fly in Old City, North Philly, even out in the suburbs in Bucks County or Chester County, I wouldn't be able to even see these planes that take off until they are thousands of feet in the air. So how is my drone that is a few hundred feet in the air going to impact them at all? With the adoption of drones, in a lot of ways, our aircraft have been lumped in with manned aircraft in the way that we have to operate, when the use cases, upkeep, and general impact of our equipment is far different than a traditional manned aircraft. I think my biggest issue is that we aren't talking about ways that we can modernize our airspace to include drones in a meaningful way. What frustrates me is that most people will say, hey, there's a TFR, I can't fly, without actually doing something about it. So today, I'm going to do something about it. That thing is making this video right here to start the discussion about how TFRs impact drone flights, because I think that they're incredibly overreaching and overbearing considering the type of aircraft that I'm flying. Now, luckily for me, I've only got a couple more months until the presidential transition, so Biden won't be president anymore, meaning there's not going to be as many TFRs in my area for VIP travel. But when Trump takes office and he's flying back and forth between Florida and New York City, you're going to see an influx of TFRs in those areas, impacting pilots in those states, and I feel for them because I just went through 4 years of it. Now, I think that technology is rapidly increasing. We've got great drone dock solutions. We've got 4G dongles that allow the drones to fly anywhere as long as you've got a cellular connection. We've got parachutes. We've just got So many things happening in the drone industry, yet the regulation side seems to be clamping down on what we're able to achieve because we aren't able to make the full use of the drones and of the technology that we have. Now, look, I don't want to just come here and talk about a problem without posing a solution. For me, I'm not a regulator, so I wouldn't feel comfortable trying to make some sort of brand new legislation or brand new rule. But I will say that if you want to clamp down on where drones are flying, make use of what we already have. Make use of remote ID. Now, look, I don't think the technology is the best, but this lets people see where all the drones are in the airspace. And if you had that, you'd be able to protect the VIP as he's moving, whoever it might be, whether it's the president or somebody else that deems to have one of these TFRs up. I just don't think that putting up a 25 or 50 mile TFR around an airport is really all that sufficient, because for somebody like me, it really does kill my business. Now, I'd love to know what you guys think, so please, down below in the comment section, let me know. And as always, I'll talk to you later. Peace.